most recent rework to Rek'sai, Freak mentioned that he wanted Rek'sai to have a higher play rate. And so the goal of that rework, to push her into more of a utility role and out of a less damage role, was to make it so people would enjoy her more. More players would be able to play Rek'sai. So they did a lot of quality of life updates, such as making the tunnel faster, making the reuse less punishing early game, making the tunnel CD better, making it so you can see while you're burrowed more, making it so you reveal enemies for longer. They also shifted a bunch of her power into later on into the game, so you weren't punished as much if you made a mistake. Think about back when Prelage Rek'sai was the thing. You made it to 25-30 minutes, your champ kind of sucked. You were too squishy, and you know, it was to a point where it was kind of hard to get on top of people with Prelage because they'd just flash away, or they'd react, or you get Nautilus queued or R'd, or you know, someone would just peel their team really well. And so you had to play a very, very aggressive playstyle around Prelage Claw. So you'd spike at this item, they get another item, and you wanted to end the game before you got to your third item, usually. Well, they thought that was unhealthy for the game, so they changed it. Which I understand and I agree with. But the way they changed Rek'sai was in good faith, in my opinion. It was in very good faith. And a lot of people I see, especially on that subreddit, definitely disagree, but I think the sentiment there is way too negative. I think people aren't giving Riot enough credit, and yeah, they make mistakes, and yeah, they're not perfect for sure. They are definitely not perfect, but I like the approach that they're trying to go to, and I agree with it. I really got into Rek'sai when Prowlers was around. That's when I really took hold of the champion and really developed an appreciation for the champion. And even though that version of Rek'sai is gone and probably will never come back in a genuine meta state, that's okay, and I'm okay with that. Here's the thing, taking away so much damage and given Rek'sai so much utility that yeah, she's strong, but she feels strong in the wrong ways. Think about it. Think about Aurelion Sol, right? They made him stronger, so now he's easier to play, and he has a lot more innate value, but he's not as fun to play. A lot of Rek'sai players played her during this assassin phase that she was in, and so a lot of players really did not like the massive 180 swing that Riot made to make her into a bruiser, and I understand that. A lot of people played her because she was like an alternative to Lee Sin or Elise or Nidalee, not because they wanted to play Rek'sai. They played her because they liked the alternative. And so whenever they did this rework, they kind of killed her play rate even worse than it was. Now, there are a few main problems with this. The biggest one I see is that her identity isn't really defined, okay? So if I want to build Rek'sai as a bruiser right now, she'll be, let's say, 80% of what a bruiser wants to be. And that is true for a bruiser, assassin, and tank Rek'sai. So any version of Rek'sai you do, she will be not fully capable, unlike another champion. So if I want to tank Rek'sai, why would I not just pick a Zac? Zac's just better. He's a better tank. He scales better. If I want an assassin, why not just pick Elise or Lee Sin? Or even build Lee Sin like a bruiser, and he does it better. Or play Jarvan. There are many champions. I'm not just going to say a few. There are many champions that if Rek'sai wants to build and play in a certain way, that do that way better. So let's talk about some of the issues that people have. One, I see this so much. This is like the most common thing I see. People miss the true damage E. And I think a part of that, not only the true damage E, they also miss being able to opt into assassin builds. It's not really something you can do as much anymore because your AD scaling is just, I wouldn't say completely butchered, but they took a good amount of them away. At a point, her AD ratios were so insane that they were better than some assassins, it seemed like. And that's just crazy, because she was like a wannabe assassin. Or the only thing that she didn't have that an assassin had was good mobility. and that ties into having little damage. So most of these are damage oriented. People just really miss her damage mostly. But I wanna tip the scope a little bit in Riot's favor. I want you to see from their perspective. I'm gonna give you a list of every single thing that they changed that made Rek'sai better to play, better in a feeling way, not like in a damage way, but to play the champion, to, you know, use her abilities. Okay, so she got 1 AoE knockup. She got faster tunnels, a passive that actually works and actually scales with something, abilities that can scale with total AD, so she's not forced to build AD, a W that scales with the ranks in the ability, not level, and that W also gives her more move speed later in the game, and made the range where you can see right next to her bigger, and made her cube reveal twice as long. Let's talk about the nerfs. Less AD scalings on majority of her abilities, right? Burrowed Q and Burrowed W deal magic damage, meaning they don't scale with lethality, which hurts assassins, obviously. No true damage on E. And the biggest thing for people who played Rek'sai for a long time is you can't do the tunnel into knockup trick. Basically, what you would be able to do, and I'll put it on the screen if I can find a clip for it, but you would stand really close to your opponent, then you would cast E, and in the first moments of the E, you could actually still knock up. So you would E, you would tunnel forward and then knock up during the very beginning part of the tunnel, and you could use both abilities at the same time. So you'd exit the tunnel unburrowed. I don't know if it's a bug, I don't know if it's a feature, but it was something really cool that Rek'sai could do, and that's one of the main things I really wish they didn't change, because it was a really interesting detail that I think was really cool that higher ranked players could do. All in all, she lost damage, she got utility, but hey, they needed to change her away from that feast and famine playstyle that she had, right? I mean, Prowlers was super unhealthy on Rek'sai. Imagine you're playing Rise, right? You see a Rek'sai suddenly pop up kind of near you within, let's say, another tunnel usage, and then the Rek'sai flashes and then Prowler Skulls on top of you, does a full combo with Hail Blades and one-shots you. Is that fun? Is that really interactive? Because I can't say it is. So they needed to change it. I understand. So with these changes, let's list out what we think Riot wants from what they've said and the changes they made. So their actions and their words, right? So Freak says that he doesn't want Rek'sai to be using Prowlers anymore, and he wants her to have a higher play rate, right? So he wants to push her more to something like a Jarvan, right? That's what it seems like. So that's why they pushed her away from bonus AD and pushed her towards total AD. They made her passive scale with 20% HP. If we want to make Rek'sai Riot wants her, we need to double down on what they do. And so I can see 2 possible ways of going about this. 1, they push her to fighter more, or 2, they push her slightly towards fighter more, and then they give her the option to assassin. I would prefer this because it gives the option for other Rek'sai players who used to play her to not feel so isolated away from the champion. And even then, she doesn't have Prowler's Claw anymore. It's not as big of an issue. If people want to build Yumus and try to run at people really fast, let them do it. I think it's fine. I think Assassin Rek'sai right now would be okay. Let me tell you what I think. There's one change I think should happen, and then there's one of 2 changes I suggest should happen, depending on what Riot would rather do. Okay? So here's the change I want. They reduce the base damage, especially early game, on E, the bite. So they reduce the percent max HP scaling, and I want it to be more targeted towards early game than anything. So I want them to nerf it. I want them to target it so it does 2% less early game, and then let's say like 1% less late game. Okay? so they can smoothen that out as the ranks go on, so it's not as big of a nerf. And then I want them also, same thing, I want them to take away, let's say, around 5% of the max HP scaling on passive. Okay, her passive has so much power loaded into it, I don't think it needs so much into it. If they want her to build tanky, they need to reward her on a defensive side and a damage side for building HP. Okay, and what I'm suggesting they do for the damage side is put that power back into the bite. So now it scales with bonus HP scaling. I don't know how much they put onto it, but some number, let's say, 2 or 3% bonus HP on the bite. So you were rewarded for building tank. You're rewarded for building fighter. You're not completely punished in the damage department. You're slightly, but you get a benefit in the damage department, and you get a benefit in the defense department. I think that's something they need to do, because a lot of different champions have abilities that scale with HP that are tanks, and if they want her to kind of fill into that role, I think they need to give her something like that. Okay, now let's hear my one of two suggestions. Okay, here are one of the two buffs. Make Burrowed Q deal physical damage again. Okay, just Burrowed Q, and up the AD scaling up to 40% instead of 25. 25 is insanely low. I think 40 would be just fine, and making it so it can scale with lethality is good as well. I know this is a very small buff for Assassin. If they go for the damage buff I said with E, she would also be able to opt into building Sunder Sky or Edge of Night, some item that has AD and still has HP, and it would help her deal more damage with her bite. The other one, if you don't want to give the option for players to build Assassin, make the cooldown of enemies you knock up scale with bonus HP. Don't make anything insane. Every 1000 HP you have, it takes off, let's say, a second. I don't know. I'm just suggesting so. I don't really know the best numbers to give you guys because it's not my job. I'm just suggesting as an OTP. That's just something I want to throw out there. But I think it would be a cool idea. It's another benefit you would give Rek'sai to building HP. And, it would even help out non-tank oriented builds, because if you're building Bruiser and you end up having like 3k HP late game, now your knockup's like a 7-second cooldown. That's not bad. That's a lot better than 10, right? Someone on my most recent video mentioned how since Rek'sai is a brood mother, right, she should have minions. Bel'Veth has minions, why shouldn't Rek'sai? And that frankly makes sense to me. And there's another issue that a lot of people have with Rek'sai, and it has to do with their ultimate. And I don't really think they should touch the ultimate, because they've already put a lot of time into Rek'sai. Considering, if we want to consider her play rate, they've put a lot of time into her. Unless they want to do an overhaul of the ultimate, I don't really think they should really consider what I say, because that would require more resources, because I have to think of something different and what approach they want to take. And I think if they wanted to make a minor tweak to ultimate, there is a suggestion I could make based on that comment I just mentioned. They could have multiple different options, like evolves, for Rek'sai. I think it'd be cool. Let me give an example. So let's say the first time you get ultimate, right? Level up like Kha'Zix, either your Q, your W, or your E. Let's say every single time you used E and you exited the E, you would get a small Rek'sai, kind of like a dog. It would be on a limited timer. Think of things like Void Grubs or the old Voidlings from ZZ Rock Portal. They'd be on a limited timer, so they can help you with your clear, because a lot of people have issues with her clear, right? But also they could attack enemy champions. That'd be kind of cool, right? Or you could have a W that, when I level it up, it gives me 5 extra move speed or 10 extra move speed or something like that, right? And then your Q, I don't know, like you could increase like the attack speed or some of the scalings on the Q, or you know, just something where like when she levels up R, there's something else there. It's not as underwhelming. But and there's a thing with Rek'sai that a lot of other Void Champs have that she doesn't, is a evolution mechanic, and I think she really should. I think she should have this evolution mechanic, and if they want to add a piece of, you know, her being a brood mother into her E or other things, I think it'd be really cool to explore these concepts. And you know, it's nothing crucial, and like these are things I only want them to try if they are willing to dedicate the resources to it, because they've already dedicated a good amount of resources to the champion and it definitely did not go in the direction they wanted, because her play rate's still low. So but it's just an idea where, you know, even in a minor tweaking way, they can fix the ultimate and add elements of other Void Champs to Rek'sai. I don't really expect anyone at Riot to see this video. I don't really, you know, it's not something that needs to happen. I've just noticed a lot of frustrations. And I thought if I put my hat into the ring as someone with the experience on the champion and someone that spends a lot of time playing Rek'sai, it would give some insight to what my thoughts are like. I don't want to revert anything besides that burrowed Q. That's the only thing I've really thought about reverting. I think the idea that Riot has is good, and if we just double down on it, you know, just tweak it a little bit, I think it can make Rek'sai more accessible to other people and not feel so bland and like you can't do anything. You know, it kind of sucks being in a middle ground where you don't know what to do. Like, okay, well, I can't be a tank. Oh, okay, well, I can't be an assassin. Oh, okay, well, I can't be a bruiser. No, give or take, I'm talking about to a maximum potential. Because when you're ahead on Rek'sai, one of the things I like her the most right now is when you're ahead on her right now, it's like you can be a weaker version of all those things at once, right? Cool little burst combo. That's usually what I do with Titanic, is make it super rapid, and then you're really mobile with your tunnels if you set them up right, so you get rewarded for your tunnel usage, and then you can be tanky, right? So you're a slippery, tanky, semi-decent damage dealing character. That's pretty cool. And you know, if they take some tankiness away from the passive, I'm okay with that, as long as they kind of get back in another damage department. You know, I'm just some guy that plays a lot of Rek'sai. You know, my words don't really have a bunch of merit, so just tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I just want to make a discussion about it, so thank you guys.